My sister-in-law said this as she pointed into the distance. The moment I saw the person she was pointing at, a shock ran through me. Right after giving birth, I was unilaterally divorced and my child was taken from me. I lost both my purpose to live and my willpower, and I barely remember anything from that time. But 6 years have passed since I lost my child, and thanks to the letter from my sister-in-law, I finally understood everything. I then swore to drag the person enjoying themselves before me into the depths of hell. My name is Olivia. At 29, it's an age when friends and acquaintances start announcing their marriages. A junior at my workplace had just gone on maternity leave, so at the time, I was feeling a bit of pressure myself. That's when I met Harrison, a friend's introduction, someone the same age as me. At first glance, he was a charming person with an innocent smile, but his demeanor was gentlemanly, and he always looked out for me. I lost both my parents early on and had no relatives to rely on, so I was drawn to his kindness. When we talked, I learned that Harrison had also lost his parents and that we shared several common interests, so we naturally began dating. 4 months later, I found out I was pregnant.
I'll make Olivia happy.
We were both dating with marriage in mind, so we quickly registered our marriage and began a new life together in my apartment. As far as newlywed things go, we only had one meal together as three, with my sister-in-law, Catherine, who is 6 years younger. We planned to hold a wedding and honeymoon after the baby was born and things had settled down. Although only about half a year had passed from dating to marriage registration, I was confident that I could be happy with Harrison. However, in reality, meeting him had begun to slowly throw my life off balance. As I started living with Harrison, every time I discovered a new side to him that I hadn't seen before, I felt a ticklish sense of fondness. Ah, so this is what married life is, I thought. Cooking and laundry for two, red and blue toothbrushes, daily essentials running out faster than they did when I was single. Even simple conversations like "I'm home" and "welcome back" felt like something precious. The feeling of warmth in those small words made me think this was what it meant to have a fulfilled heart. At least, that's what I believed. But he was acting on a completely different mindset. When we'd settled into life together, Harrison started frequently visiting his parents' house, concerned for his younger sister. I'd heard Catherine was living alone in the large house their parents had left, so I admired Harrison, thinking he was genuinely kind-hearted. However, when my morning sickness worsened, he suddenly changed.
What do you mean there's no dinner? Isn't it your job to cook for me?
Sorry, I had to leave work early today because I was feeling sick. The smell of different foods just makes me nauseous.
Stop making excuses. I come home exhausted from work, and you annoy me? You're a failure as a wife.
Those days, I didn't have the strength to argue back, as I threw up whatever little I could eat. Even when he said unreasonable things, I just kept apologizing. When he did bring me food, like a sandwich or pizza, I couldn't eat it. And when I asked for fruit, he said it was too expensive and threw expired jelly at me instead. How can he do this to me while I'm carrying his child? Then, before I knew it, he stopped coming home from his parents' house. My sister-in-law would sometimes reach out, concerned, but my messages to him were left unread. If the baby is born, I'm sure Harrison will go back to being kind. I wish I'd woken up to reality back then, but I couldn't let go of my hopes for our future together. Finally, after managing to get through the morning sickness, the long-awaited day of birth arrived. I'd hoped for a supportive presence and requested him to be there for the delivery, but when I messaged him that I was in labor, he didn't reply. As I struggled through the pain, the only response I received was a single line.
I can't leave work.
With no apology or words of encouragement, I faced childbirth alone. Then, my daughter's first cries filled the delivery room. "Oh, my baby. I finally got to meet you." She was so tiny yet full of life and energy, and I can still clearly recall the joy I felt in that moment. The only thing missing was Harrison. I'd hoped he would come after work, but instead, he simply texted.
What's the gender?
He never came to the hospital. Growing impatient, I texted him to come see us. He finally showed up 3 days later, but he brought along a beautiful woman in a suit whom I'd never met before. Who are you?" I asked hesitantly. Harrison gave a derisive snort and introduced her.
This is my lawyer.
"You brought a lawyer, is something wrong?"
I want a divorce.
"What?" It felt like a dream. A hollow, stunned sound was all I could manage.
You neglected your duties, using morning sickness as an excuse for your rude behavior. I've heard you spurned Harrison's kindness.
I was just really sick, constantly nauseous and unable to eat properly. I tried desperately to explain, but no matter what I said, she twisted my words and accused me even more harshly. Exhausted from giving birth just days before and drained from the intense sickness that followed, I was mentally and physically worn down. To be honest, I couldn't think straight at that point. "Fine. I'll accept the divorce." They both nodded with satisfaction at my quiet acceptance. "But please, let me have custody of my daughter. That's my condition." I barely managed to say that before Harrison's face twisted in anger as he advanced toward me.
Are you kidding me? A jobless woman like you could never raise a child.
That may be true. Due to my severe morning sickness, I'd left work before my maternity leave started. On Harrison's suggestion, no less.
Given your financial situation and lack of family support, it's legally impossible for you to have custody.
I'd fought through childbirth alone, yet here I was, about to lose my daughter. My mind went blank. I didn't want to hand her over to him, who had shown no interest in her, but I couldn't think of a way out. With no money to hire a lawyer, I had no choice but to surrender my daughter in tears.
I'll waive child support. As a division of assets, I'll cover your hospital fees, so be grateful.
With that, he and his lawyer left the hospital room with an air of superiority. I haven't even chosen her name yet. The precious moments with my daughter, softly breathing beside me, were slipping away. I spent those days crying, memorizing every detail of her tiny, beautiful self. Then, on my discharge day, Harrison appeared with his lawyer again, and they took my 6-day-old daughter from me. As part of the divorce agreement, Harrison was supposed to send me regular photos and videos of my daughter as she grew. But 6 years passed without any of those promises being fulfilled. I went on with life, doing my best to live with the emptiness inside me. Then, out of nowhere, A letter arrived at my new apartment. From my sister-in-law. Catherine, why would she suddenly reach out? To be honest, I hadn't thought about her in years until I saw her name as the sender. I'd only seen her a handful of times during my brief marriage, but Catherine had been the one person who showed concern for me. Thinking she might have secretly sent photos, I quickly opened the envelope. The letter began.
Olivia, it's been a long time. I have something I need to tell you.
I read on, my heart pounding with worry for my daughter.
There isn't much time. You must come.
It read, followed by a date, time, and location. Since I hadn't shared my new address with Harrison, she must have hired a private investigator to find me. Though the letter didn't contain specifics, there was an urgency in her words that made me decide to meet her. A few days later, at the meeting place, I saw a more mature Catherine standing there, her left ring finger glinting with a wedding band. It's been a while. So, what did you mean by there isn't much time?
I'll explain everything in detail later, but first, just stay quiet and watch.
She pointed into the distance with a grave expression. Narrowing my eyes, I saw my ex-husband and a young girl standing not too far away. That girl. Even though I'd never seen her before, I knew instantly. This was the daughter I'd given birth to 6 years ago. I felt a surge of emotion at the unexpected sight of her, but my heartbeat quickened painfully when I took in the scene before me. So that's what's going on.
I'm sorry, Olivia. I only found out recently myself.
No, thank you for telling me. Thanks to you, I can finally see what I need to do. In that moment, I vowed to bring them down, to drag them into the very depths of hell for what they'd done to me. A few days later, I put my plan into action. Catherine's husband was supposed to come up with a reason to take my daughter out, giving me and Catherine a chance to go to my ex-in-law's house. I was prepared for a confrontation, but when the doorbell rang and the door opened, it wasn't Harrison who greeted us. It was a beautiful woman.
Oh, who might you be? A friend of Catherine's?
She looked at me, puzzled by my silence.
Mary? What's going on?
My ex-husband appeared, casually calling her by her name, and froze when he saw me, just as I expected.
Olivia.
Oh, do you know Harrison?
She asked, tilting her head in confusion. Yes, we met during the divorce. Don't you remember? I'm his ex-wife, the one you represented as his lawyer.
Oh.
Realization dawned on her face, and she looked away, flustered. This was the same woman who had come to my hospital room with Harrison shortly after I gave birth. I never forgot you after the way you attacked me back then, I said, meeting her gaze. Before Mary could respond, Harrison quickly stepped between us.
She helped me during the divorce, and that's the extent of our relationship. This has nothing to do with you. Catherine, why did you even bring her here?
That's a lie. She was never a lawyer. She's been a housewife this whole time.
Harrison glared at her, but Catherine didn't stop.
And she's also Dad's new wife, living with us even before Olivia gave birth.
Enough!
Did you really think I didn't know? I found out she was dating you even before marrying Dad.
Mary was a woman with many roles. She had been Harrison's lover, then became my father-in-law's wife as part of some scheme, and presented herself to me as a lawyer after my daughter's birth. Since then, she had been playing the role of my daughter's mother.
You have no proof we were together back then. Harrison and I only started dating after my husband passed away. I don't need to explain myself to you.
Mary sounded thoroughly annoyed, brushing off Catherine's accusations. That's not the issue here. I interrupted.
What?
Posing as a lawyer is a crime, punishable by up to 2 years in prison or a $30,000 fine. If I go to the police, this will be a problem for you. Mary's face paled, but Harrison remained defiant, glaring at Catherine.
What's your goal here? If you're after Dad's inheritance, you're not getting it.
It's you who's after the inheritance.
Shut up!
With each lie of his being exposed, he grew more defensive, raising his voice to intimidate us.
Why don't we go inside? We wouldn't want the neighbors to hear.
Catherine's suggestion made Harrison and Mary exchange looks before they withdrew into the house without a word. And that was how, for the first time, I stepped foot into my ex-in-law's home, a place I'd never been invited to during my marriage. Catherine guided me to sit across from Harrison and Mary. Harrison fixed me with a sharp gaze.
So?
Thanks to Catherine, I learned about all your lies. It surprised me to find out your father was still alive until recently.
We kept it quiet to spare you the loneliness. I even had Catherine keep it from you.
That's not true. Your real goal was to get me to have a child for you. You lied about being in the same situation as me just to win me over. Apparently, Harrison had told his father about our marriage but claimed he couldn't introduce me because of work. Then, after our divorce, he'd returned to live with his family, telling them he'd take custody of our child. All this was information Catherine had shared with me.
And what if it is?
As if I could stay quiet after learning all that. I came here for one reason. I want my daughter back. My voice trembled with anger, but it wasn't Harrison who reacted first. It was Mary.
That's impossible. We've raised her as our daughter. How could you just demand her back now?
She shouted, tears streaming down her face as she shook her head.
Mary's right. We'll give you $10,000 to make up for the alimony I didn't pay back then. Take it and let it go.
Watching them, Mary acting like a tragic heroine and Harrison holding her close, my fury grew. Do you even hear yourself? You think money can fix this?
Then what do you want? We're not giving her up.
If you don't give in to my demand, I'll go to the police. At my words, Mary's tears stopped instantly. She straightened, pulling away from Harrison, and looked me squarely in the eyes.
Fine, then. I don't want to get arrested, so take her. Frankly, she's been getting less cute, looking more and more like you.
What are you saying? She's our beloved daughter. Besides, my father's inheritance isn't settled yet.
I checked his will. Nowhere does it say he wanted to leave anything to a grandchild. And I'm still legally his wife, So I have inheritance rights even without a child.
Perhaps he'd forgotten that, because Harrison's eyes lit up as he clapped his hands.
You're right. Fine, then, custody goes to Olivia.
His quick agreement only reinforced my belief that he didn't deserve to be a father.
Aw, finally, Harrison and I can live happily, just the two of us.
She let out a relieved smile, to which Catherine and I reacted with a low, incredulous what?
Since we're being honest, I only married his father for the inheritance. This whole scheme was Harrison's idea.
Harrison, who had heard from his father about plans to leave his fortune to a grandchild, had used me to ensure that child would exist.
If I'd been able to have children, I wouldn't have needed you, or had to pretend to be a lawyer to take your daughter.
Apparently, she couldn't bear children herself, though she didn't seem particularly bothered by it.
They say all's well that ends well, right?
She laughed, as if completely unaware of how out of place that was.
It was shocking when my father got better right after we got married, even though the doctor had said he didn't have long. I know! So, if I got arrested now, all my patience would be wasted. Take the child back.
How can you both talk so horribly about Dad after everything he did for you? You're both the worst.
With that, Catherine slammed the table, her anger finally boiling over. However, neither Mary nor my ex-husband showed any sign of remorse. On the contrary, Mary raised the corners of her mouth in a provocative smirk.
Let me ask you something. Did you really think a young woman would fall in love with an old man?
I did. That's why I was completely disgusted when I found out you were involved with my brother.
As Catherine started crying, Mary laughed mockingly.
What an idiot.
Watching Harrison laugh along with her as they mocked his own sister, I felt ashamed to think I had ever loved such a man.
But, you know, I feel sorry for our daughter, being dragged into this. She barely knows you.
She'd suffer more if I left her with people who see her as nothing but a burden. Expecting me to back down if he appealed to my emotions, Harrison was visibly thrown off by my response. Neither he nor Mary seemed to understand, as they looked at each other in confusion. First things first, we're all in agreement that custody will be transferred to me? Mary immediately replied.
Only if you keep the police out of it.
Harrison nodded in agreement. Hearing this, I did an internal fist pump. The moment to give these two a taste of hell had finally arrived. Then, as her father, I'm requesting $840,000 in child support, covering ages 7 through 20.
Fine. Once my dad's inheritance comes in, I'll wire you the money right away.
He sounded confident, but Catherine and I exchanged a knowing look.
Just so you know, neither of you will see a penny of that money.
Both of them responded in unison.
That's impossible.
Did you really think Dad would do nothing when he realized you were after his inheritance?
She then pulled out a notarized document and our late father-in-law's diary, which documented every detail of their despicable scheme.
Right before he passed, Dad discovered your relationship and carefully recorded all the evidence.
The diary detailed how Harrison had sent his girlfriend as a wife and planned to have a child solely for inheritance. Apparently, our father-in-law had overheard them discussing this by chance. At the end of the diary, there was even an apology to me,
I'm deeply sorry for involving Olivia in this due to my careless words.
The notarized document divides half of the inheritance to his granddaughter. The remaining half goes to me and Olivia.
That can't be.
And by the way, the deed to this house is now in my name. I'll be selling it, so pack up and leave.
Harrison and Mary yelled at her in unison.
This is unfair!
And he said,
Then we won't give up custody, and we won't leave the house.
I've recorded this entire conversation. If I submit it, you'll be the ones in trouble. While the diary alone might not suffice as evidence, their confessions on tape would likely enable me to claim damages. But truthfully, I didn't care about money as long as I could get my daughter back.
All those years of effort, gone! No inheritance? This is the worst!
Mary covered her face with her hands and began to sob. But Harrison, rather than comfort her, stood up unsteadily, pale as a sheet, and dropped to his knees.
I'm sorry for everything I've done. I counted on my father's money, so I can't pay child support. Please, let's handle this peacefully.
Did you really think I'd say, "Sure, no problem"? I'll never forgive you. My icy response caused Harrison to stammer desperately.
Please!
Pack up and get out.
Catherine looked down at him kneeling, then stood up. I'll be filing for a custody change with the family court. My lawyer will be in touch. Don't think you can escape. With that, I placed my lawyer's business card on the table and left their house. As we walked away, hearing their crying and shouting behind us, Catherine and I felt an immense sense of relief. Harrison paid a portion of the child support up front, with the remainder agreed upon in installments. Now, he's reportedly living in a rundown apartment, working from morning until night. Mary, realizing the inheritance was out of reach and feeling she had wasted too much time, left him as soon as his money ran out. I still receive messages from Harrison, things like,
I want us to live together again.
and,
My real family was always you and Olivia.
but I've stayed resolute in ignoring him. As for me, I recently started living with my daughter. Until the custody change was finalized, my sister-in-law and her husband took care of her, allowing us to bond as mother and daughter in the meantime. I expected a long process, but because of the issues on her father's side, I was granted custody sooner than usual. The fact that my daughter wanted to live with me made it even more rewarding. There's nothing that makes me happier. After 6 years apart, we're like we were never separated, enjoying a close, loving bond. At first, she was shy calling me mom, but now it's coming naturally. As I learn her favorite foods, her favorite colors, and more, I can feel the emptiness in my heart slowly filling up. I'm going to make you happy. I vow, holding her little hand in mine, making a new promise for our future. How did you enjoy this story? Please remember to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. You're an unemployed person who stays at home. You should pack up and leave.
She was trying to kick me out. My parents nodded along. What were they thinking? But I had had enough. Fine. The next day, I finished all the procedures and moved out. My sister-in-law panicked.
Why did it come to this?
but it was too late. They should regret making me angry. My name is Mia. I'm a 32-year-old remote worker. I currently live with my parents and brother, making it a family of 4. My brother moved out once he got a job, but he returned home after the house was fully renovated last year. Since then, we have been living together as a family of 4. However, it seems like my brother will be moving out again soon. This is because he is getting married. Once he gets married, he will rent a new room with his wife. I was thinking about our life as a family of 3. With one less person, my burden will be reduced slightly. I think I can continue living as I have been. That's what I was thinking about.
Hey, Mia. Hurry up and make breakfast.
Geez, this kid can't do anything without being told.
Today, too, the day began with my parents nagging. They always make me do things for them. Even though I tell them I'm working, they don't listen to me at all. They just tell me that an unemployed person should do housework. So they push all the housework onto me. That's why I have to do housework in between work. The general flow of my day is to make breakfast for my parents every day, do laundry for 4 adults, and finish cooking dinner by the time my brother comes home from work. During that time, I also have to clean the bathroom and toilet, so it's quite hard. And my parents keep complaining about everything, so it's not just physically tiring, but mentally exhausting too.
You're being supported by Michael, so you should do this properly.
That's right. Aren't you ashamed of yourself at 32?
My parents, who have decided that I'm unemployed, keep berating me every chance they get. No matter how much I tell them I'm earning money while working from home, they don't believe me.
You're just playing on the computer, aren't you?
If you could make money doing something like this, no one would have to struggle.
Something like this. I'm trying pretty hard, you know. My parents have always doted on my brother. He was good-looking, cheerful, and always the center of attention. As a result, he had many friends and was popular with relatives and neighbors. On the other hand, I was introverted and often unable to express my feelings, so I had few friends. That's why my parents only praised my popular brother. My brother was good at getting what he wanted and knew how to win over our parents. He was given everything he wanted. I worked hard and got good grades, but my brother, who had lower grades than me, was always praised. They would say things like,
You did 2 points better than last time.
You're a genius because you got the difficult questions right.
They were indifferent to me and always told me to not cause any trouble. So when I was young, my heart was rotting away, but my brother was the only one who recognized me.
Actually, you're the genius in this house. I think you'll be more successful than me in the future.
Really?
Yeah, so support our family in the future.
I was happy to hear that from my brother, so I studied hard. My brother often relied on me and I helped him with his homework. Every time he thanked me, I realized how happy it was to be relied on by someone. So I didn't mind that my brother was the only one being praised. I just kept doing what I could do, and when my brother asked for help, I supported him with all my might. That's how I spent my days. I was happy that my older brother was getting married. I was looking forward to meeting his bride and wondering what kind of person she would be. When my brother brought his fiancée, Sarah, to meet us for the first time, I was impressed by how beautiful she was. They were a perfect match, a handsome couple. However, there was something that bothered me. Sarah didn't look at me much. She didn't try to talk to me. I'm also shy and don't usually initiate conversations, but it felt like she was avoiding me. My parents treated my brother's fiancée with the same respect as they did with my brother, because they loved him so much. It became a world of just the 4 of them, and I was left out and felt awkward. Well, that was fine because my brother's fiancée wasn't going to live with us. That's what I thought, but even after the wedding, my brother didn't seem to be leaving the house. In fact, his wife came over with a large suitcase.
I'm counting on you from today on. Nice to meet you, Mom and Dad.
Yes, nice to meet you, Sarah.
I was speechless watching my parents and my brother's wife interact. I immediately pulled my brother to his room and asked him, "What's going on? Aren't you two going to rent a place to live?"
No. Sorry. We spent all our money on the wedding and honeymoon. We're in pretty bad shape financially. Besides, we just renovated this house a year ago, so it's still new, right? So Sarah said she wanted to live in this beautiful house anyway.
So you decided without consulting me?
No, I was going to tell you later, but things got hectic.
I couldn't believe that my brother had decided to live with us without consulting me. I thought he was the only one who recognized me. It made me angry that things were decided without my knowledge. And my parents treated my brother's wife with the same respect as they did with my brother, making it a world of just the four of them. I was left out and felt awkward.
Hey, hurry up and bring tea. Sarah is here.
You're really useless and dull, aren't you? It's embarrassing in front of Sarah.
It was more embarrassing for my parents to say such things in front of my brother's wife. But she laughed when she heard my parents' words. It wasn't a wry smile, but a mocking laugh. I had a gut feeling that she was the same as my parents and wouldn't believe anything I said. I was worried about my future life. Instead of having one less person, I had one more, and it was someone who would make my life difficult. It seemed like it would be even harder to work. And as expected, it turned out the way I thought it would.
Hey, Mia, I want a caramel macchiato with extra whipped cream.
Oh, really? I knew what my sister-in-law was trying to say, but I decided to ignore her. Then she clicked her tongue and glared at me.
You're really stupid. I told you to go buy it right now.
I can't. I'm working.
What? Working? You're just playing with those anime characters, aren't you? If you're going to lie, come up with a better one. Just go buy it already. I'll tell your mother and father.
That's how my sister-in-law threatened me. My job is to create 3D character graphic designs, and I'm also responsible for designing game characters. Although it's a similar genre, I get various jobs, so I can earn quite a bit. But even if I explain it in detail, my sister-in-law probably wouldn't understand. When I ignored her and worked, she told my mother as if she was tattling on me. My mother came into the room with an angry face.
Hey. What are you trying to do, making Sarah cry?
What? Make her cry. When I turned around, my sister-in-law was pretending to cry. It was obviously fake crying, but my mother seemed to be easily fooled.
Go buy what you were asked to buy right now. You're unemployed, so do something useful.
My mother yelled like that. If I've been disturbed this much, it's faster to just go buy it. I thought so and reluctantly went to buy a caramel macchiato.
You should have gone to buy it right away. You're really stupid. Can't you work, rather than saying you're not working?
That's how my sister-in-law made fun of me. She quit her job when she got married, and she will be a housewife from now on. I couldn't bear the thought of having one more person who would insult me every day. I couldn't take it anymore, so I talked to my brother. Hey, can you explain things properly? Mom, Dad, and Sarah are all assuming that I'm unemployed and pushing everything on me. It's impossible to balance work and this kind of situation. Even if I say something, no one believes me. I think only you can make them understand. I talked to my brother like that, but he just gave me a vague answer.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of explaining things properly at the right time. But I'm busy with work too, so I know I'm bothering you, Mia. I'm grateful for all the support you've given me. Thank you so much.
That's what my brother said, but I was gradually becoming dissatisfied with just those words. If you don't explain things properly, I'm leaving this house.
What? That's a problem. You're the one who's supporting us right now.
That's why I'm telling you to talk to them properly. If you do, I think Dad and Mom will be a little more understanding. If you don't say anything, I'll leave to maintain my proper work environment. I'll take everything in this house with me and sell the house.
Are you serious?
Yes, because everything in this house is mine.
Okay. I'll explain things properly.
My brother said that in a flustered manner. If I say this much, my brother will explain things properly. After a month, my brother still hadn't said anything to my parents and sister-in-law. I had had enough and started preparing to leave the house. My sister-in-law and parents often went out to eat together, so I had a real estate agent come over to appraise the house while they were out. Now I can sell the house anytime. Meanwhile, my brother was going on a business trip for about a week. It's not common for someone who just got married to be asked to go on a business trip. Perhaps my brother didn't want to be urged by me and was stalling for time. My trust in my brother was decreasing rapidly. And then, right after my brother left on his business trip, my sister-in-law suddenly came into my room.
Hey, what are you planning to do? Are you going to keep leeching off this house forever? You're eating into the money we should be using to live more comfortably. You money-eating parasite. You're unemployed and stay home and should pack up and leave.
That's what my sister-in-law said as she tried to kick me out. My parents nodded along. What were they thinking? But I had had enough. Fine, I'll leave right now. I immediately contacted a real estate agent. I was told that the procedures could be done immediately, so I decided to go there tomorrow.
Now we can finally get rid of the troublemaker.
It's good that Sarah came.
We were having trouble with this one too.
My parents laughed as they said that. It was too much. I was filled with anger. The next day, I finished all the procedures and moved out. My parents and sister-in-law told me to leave while they were eating out, so I was able to move everything at once. I also contacted a recycling company and sold all the furniture and appliances. As a result, there is nothing in the house. And for now, I stayed at a business hotel and started looking for a room for one person. As expected, a few hours later, my mother called me.
Hey. Why isn't there anything in the house?
Well, I bought everything.
What? Don't lie. Michael bought everything new, didn't he?
You guys seem to be misunderstanding. I paid for everything, including the house renovation, furniture, appliances, and living expenses.
You're telling such a stupid lie again.
My mother didn't believe me. Then, my sister-in-law took over the phone.
Hey. Do you think you can get away with this? I'll sue you.
Feel free to do so. You're the only ones who will be embarrassed. I have proof that the house is in my name and that I bought furniture and appliances with my credit card. When I said that, my sister-in-law was taken aback.
You're so confident.
Yes, because it's the truth. You can call the police or anyone you want. But I think you should check with your husband first. And then I reported to my brother via email that I had left the house and sold it. After about 10 minutes, my mother called me again. Her voice sounded quite urgent.
I heard from Michael that everything you said is true. Please, I'm sorry. Come back. We relied on your income, right? So please, we need to continue our life as it was. I'll apologize as many times as you want.
It's too late. How much have I explained to you guys? You didn't believe anything I said and treated me poorly. I can't forgive you. I've already sold the house, so just leave quickly.
What? You sold it? What are we supposed to do now?
I don't know. Why don't you ask your son for help?
And rely on that kid who only makes $1,000 a month? We'll go bankrupt if we do that.
Then why don't you work? Stop relying on others and work for yourselves. Your bodies still work, don't they?
Don't say that.
My mother was crying.
Why did it come to this?
I could hear my sister-in-law's voice from behind. They were panicking, but it was too late. They should regret making me angry. I'm cutting ties with you. I hung up the phone. I then blocked their calls so I wouldn't have to deal with them anymore. After that, I decided to live overseas, taking advantage of my ability to work from home. That way, I wouldn't have to worry about being chased by my brothers. Since then, my brother has called me many times, saying he wants to apologize or meet me. I was sick of it. I also found out that my brother had been calling me unemployed to my mother and sister-in-law. He had said many things to me, like how grateful he was, but he had taken all the credit and talked behind my back. I can't trust someone like that anymore, so I decided to cut ties with him completely. Now I'm living a peaceful life overseas, working hard and enjoying my days. I'll continue to work hard and maybe try to find a partner in the future.
How was this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.